Hi, I'm Kristal Hart, and welcome to the Kristal Hart Show. Muhammad Ali, the GOAT, greatest of all time boxer, also a celebrated activist. But did you also know that he was a painter and poet and prophet? And his artwork displayed civil rights, religion. He was a humanitarian. Next to me is Rodney Hilton Brown, whose private collection of work, of Muhammad Ali's work, will go on auction at Bonhams Auction Center on October 5th. Now, my first question that I'd like to know is, how did you get to know Muhammad Ali on such a personal level to be able to collect all this work?
In 1977, I had taken over a failing art gallery and was looking for some famous artists to publish in limited edition prints. And the most famous person in the world, obviously, Muhammad Ali. So I arranged to meet him up in Boston, where he was doing an exhibition charity boxing match to raise funds for the Elma Lewis School of Fine Arts, a minority art school up in Boston. And I met him in the dressing room before the fight, told him why I was there. I wanted him to paint some paintings, and I told him that I thought if I could stick a paintbrush in his hands, what would come out of it would be just as brilliant as what he did with his hands in the boxing ring. And the rest is history.
Well, we're going to take a little tour now, and Rodney will explain a little bit more about his artwork and what to expect.
All the artwork and artifacts that are in the Bonhams sale are in my newly published book, Muhammad Ali, Painter, Poet, and Prophet. And this is a book about Ali's Untold Story, and this is his unveiling a painting which we'll see in a few minutes in front of the General Assembly of the United Nations, and that's called Let My People Go. But it all goes back to earlier paintings that we did in 1977, 1979, when he was down on Natchez, Mississippi, filming Freedom Road. This is Sting Like a Bee. This is Mosque 2, A Guiding Light, and Jet Plane. And they all became limited edition silkscreen prints, which are also on view and on sale here. This group of 10 drawings here was done in 1967 for issue number 1 of Avant Garde magazine. And they're a group of fantastic social justice drawings. Here is an illustration of his trial for refusing to go into the Army under the draft. Here's the starving children of Mississippi. Here's an earlier mosque. Here's the comparison between Islam and Christianity. Him looking at the crowd out of the boxing ring. Another boxing ring piece. This shows America as a giant jail, keeping black people in there. And it's just fantastic. They're all one-of-a-kind pieces. And I found out about their existence, and 11 years after these were drawn, I went to Ralph Ginsberg, who was the owner of Avant Garde magazine, and purchased the whole group from him to add to my collection, because it was certainly a missing example of his best social justice pieces. This is the magnificent set of 4 silkscreen prints that were done from the paintings that we saw over there. And you can see the colors, the size are magnificent, printed on the finest paper. And because Ali was sitting down at a big table when he signed the prints, these signature specimens are twice the size of an ordinary Ali signature or autograph that you would buy on the market. And they're said by experts to be the finest examples of Ali's signature ever done, because, as I said, he was relaxed, sitting at a big table, and the Alzheimer's and the Parkinson's hadn't set in yet, so he still had total control over his hands. This group of paintings here is quite diverse. This drawing here and this painting of the jet plane over there were done as Parkinson's therapy paintings after the Holmes fight. So that puts them in a very unique category. This one, the Tree of Life, biblical theme was one of those three that were done on the first night that we met up in Boston. Probably the best painting he ever did in terms of technical color balance and so forth is the one at the very, very top, Eastern Sunrise. I just love that painting. It's just fantastic. I wish it was a little bit lower down so we could see it. Another very interesting painting is the one, I Love You, America. He was over at my place on East 64th Street one night, and I said, I know you love this country, but most people don't know and they don't understand that you love America because of the Vietnam draft thing. And I said, I'd like you to paint something that expresses how you love America. And so we did this Jasper Johns type theme painting with the big American flag there, I Love You, America. And the big heart represents the I Love New York symbol that was popular back at that time. And then he signed and dated it in 1979. So it's a very singular piece about a very important part of him. Now, the last painting we're going to look at in this panel is way up at the top. And that's a painting that he did right before the fight with Larry Holmes. And it shows him and Larry Holmes in the ring with him beating Larry Holmes. Now, unfortunately, the fight didn't turn out that way. But I have photographs that are in the book of him painting the painting and then also holding the finished product up after he had finished it with a smile on his face, because he was proud of his work. Proud, very proud. This entire wall here is Ali's United Nations pieces. And back in the 70s, there was a big push by the UN against apartheid in South Africa and to free the people of Namibia. But nobody gave a damn about that because Namibia was a country that had no oil, it had no diamonds, had no gold. Just a lot of poor people that wanted to be free. So they couldn't get any traction or attention. So I arranged to bring Ali to the UN, where we met with Secretary General Kurt Waldheim and gave a speech before the UN for the freedom of the people of Namibia. And this is the artwork and the poetry that surrounded that event. And this is the original painting that we unveiled from the rostrum at the UN. And he had a poem that he composed to go along with the painting. And the poem was, "Spread the word around the world, tell both friend and foe. I'm fighting for freedom now, South Africa, so let my people go." And it brought the house down, standing ovation right on the spot. And the United Nations made some limited edition prints under a program that they had at the time. And these are the limited edition prints over here. Now, they thought that we were too inflammatory with the white man with the whip next to the bars of gold down here. So in the printing of the UN limited edition, they demanded that I either take out the white man with the whip or take out the slogan, "Let my people go," because they just thought the two together were too inflammatory. Well, I couldn't take out "Let my people go" because that goes along with the poem, and that's the essence of our whole painting, politics, and poetry program over at the UN. It was the essence of it. So the final UN print came out with the white man removed from the print. This is from the regular UN print edition. However, since it was my printer that was printing the edition for the UN, I was able to get a few artist proofs run off with the white man still in before they erased him and took him out. And Ali and I shared those prints, and he gave some to his entourage, and I have a couple left today. It's a fabulous, fabulous rarity. And these are handwritten peace poems that he wrote at the time. This one being framed together with the "We Came in Chains" poem, which is just a knockout, the finest poem he ever produced. And then in the middle, up top there, is what looks like a UN flag, but instead of the UN symbol in the back, it's the crying face of a child, because he did this for the inauguration of the International Year of the Child, which we were able to get him appointed Premier of the Year of the Child over there. So it's a fascinating. We actually had an office inside the UN, and that's the plaque for our office up there called Muhammad Ali Art Foundation for Peace. So we had a lot of things going that were tragically interrupted by the Holmes fight. The kind of relationship we had was basically fun. It was just everything we did, we had fun at, and we enjoyed it. And one of his habits was making these paper airplanes, because he painted jets a lot. It was one of his favorite subjects. But he also made them in the form of paper airplanes, and he would sign them and date them and throw them at me. And so I managed to catch 2 of them, and they're on display here as unique examples of his fun stuff. In this case, we have a boxing glove that he signed to me in the 80s. Down below, this is the pair of boxing gloves that are on the front cover of the auction catalog here. And they're the pair of gloves that he wore during that exhibition fight to raise money to help the Poor Children's Art School up in Boston. And he signed it after the fight. Next, we have that famous issue #1 of Avant Garde magazine that carried the artworks that we just saw over on the other wall. And here is something really unique. We have his palettes and brushes that he used to paint the paintings that are all over these walls. And also his original tablet of art paper that he used to do the drawings. And this easel is signed and dated Muhammad Ali, September 4, 1980. And these exact colors are in these exact paintings that we've just been looking at over here. Many years ago, I was a member of the Heisman down at the Downtown Athletic Club, and we also had an annual boxing award as well as a football award. It was in the form of a gold medal. And so in 1984, Muhammad Ali was our champion for life, and this is a program cover that he signed, 1984, and this is a copy of the medal, a rare piece of honorarium by one of the greatest sports organizations in the world, the Downtown Athletic Club. This is an interesting group. Ali was initially taught to paint by his father, who was an artist and a sign painter in Louisville, and these 4 paintings are by Muhammad Ali's father. And when I was down in Louisville one time, he took me to visit both his father and his mother. They were separated or divorced actually back then, and he had bought a house for each one of them. And so I was able to buy these from Muhammad Ali's father. But they're beautiful pieces. They're very well done. And this one in the corner is very unique. This is actually a photograph on canvas of a photograph that I took inside of Cassius Clay Sr.'s house. And this is a painting that he was doing of Muhammad Ali's mother. So it's the only known painting by Cassius Clay's father of Cassius Clay's, then Cassius Clay's mother. And it's an absolutely unique piece, and she was a wonderful woman. And you can see by the expression on her face, it just shows her goodness. This is an interesting item. This is actually lot #1 in the entire auction. And it's a poster by another artist showing Muhammad Ali. And the poster was given out at the charity fight where I first met him up in Boston. So Ali had a bunch of these posters up in the hotel room. And so he autographed this one with a very beautiful saying that was one of his real themes in life. And it says, "Service to others is the rent we pay for our room here on earth." Muhammad Ali, January 30, 1977. And that really sums up his character. He was a very generous person, and peace and love were often on many of his his signed pieces. Before we say goodbye, I just want to show you this rare pennant from Muhammad Ali's boxing camp in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania, which is where he trained for a lot of his heavyweight fights. And I was honored to have it, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing the exhibition. And adios, and have a great day.
So before we leave, just tell them on October 5th is the auction. Do you want to inform our audience what they do to look at all this? And
they can call Bonhams and sign right up over the phone with a credit card, or all of the usual invaluables and other internet auction sites are also carrying the auction. So if you love Muhammad Ali and want to participate and take something sacred home, there's 101 different ways you can do it.
And what's that favorite saying? Float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. And I'm Kristal Hart, reporting on Muhammad Ali and all of his wonderful artwork here at Bonhams Auction House in New York City, Madison Avenue, 56th Street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
70,000, 75. We've got a real fight going on here, folks. 80,000. It's 75 already. So the next bid would be 80. Would they like 80? It's 75 already. The next bid is 80. Auctions typically go up, not down. 80, two places. I'll take yours first there. You've been very kind, Tim. So 80,000 there with you, but 85 online. It's 85,000 online. 85,000. 90,000. Back with Helen there. It's 90,000. And 95 online sales. 95. How about 100 anyway? Easy for the accountants. At 100,000 be the next bid. 95, 100 there. It's 100 on my phone. 110 on my says picture. 110. 110. They see your punch, they throw another. 110, 120. 120. Down here, 130. 130. Thank you for bidding online. It's $130,000 online against you. It's 130. Any further to 130. 140. 140. 140,000. 150,000. 150,000. 150,000. 150,000. This is exciting. It's like an Ali fight. It's the Rumble in the Jungle. The Jungle was a basement in New York. It's 150,000.
We could go 155.
I'll take 155. 155 on the phones. 160 would be next if you'd like that. And they say 160. It could have been yours, but now it's there. So at 160. 160 again. 65 is next if you'd like it. Anyone? They're shaking their heads. Any further at 160, twice up. 165. Back in it.
No, that wasn't me.
Back in it at 165.
That wasn't me.
I know.
Oh, okay, good.
170, doesn't matter. There's a new bid 170 online. 170. 170. You're not the only person here, but you can bid at 175. 175 against you on 170. 170. 180. 180,000. 185. We're going fives for the online. Giving them the same, 190 now. 190. Back online. It's not yours, it's 190 over here. Inside. 190, 195. 195. Would you like it better? At 195, 200. 200,000. Obviously selling at 200 if no further. We'll go in tens now, please. 210. 220. 30. 230 against you. 230. 240. 240 online. 240,000. 250. 250 back on the phones. 250 against you online. 260. $260,000. Online bidder there. Clicking away. 270. It's 270. 280. 280 online against you, Tim. It's 280 on the internet. 300, they said. Sorry, 290. 290. Any further? At 300 online sites. Online bidder has it 300, 320. $320,000 online. Are we at? No, we're not. 330. 340. $340,000. Any further? 340. And shaking your head at 340. Going once. 340. Going twice. They are out. It looks like at 340,000. Any further at 340? Care to surprise me at 340? That goes. Yes,
They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. We are here at Madison Square Garden where Nico Ali Walsh, who is the grandson of Muhammad Ali, will be fighting once again on December 11th. He is 2-0 with 2 KOs. He is a middleweight, and this is the final press conference before the big fight here on December 11th. 2021, here at Madison Square Garden, live on ESPN.
Nico Ali Walsh. Obviously, that goes without saying, that name, the grandson of the greatest of all time. I have to bring up Madison Square Garden almost with each of these fighters because this is such a legendary, iconic home to the sport of boxing. Madison Square Garden and your grandfather, their history is intertwined. How has your New York City experience been so far?
It's been amazing, but you know what? I've got to first say, happy belated birthday to Mr. Bob Arum. I think it's amazing that, he's 90 years old, and it's such a blessing that he's, got the wits and the smarts that he does at this age, and he's just a huge part of boxing history, not just Top Rank. So that's awesome. But, this is my first time in New York, and I'm very happy to be here.
We talked about you fighting here for quite some time now. It's here. It's a press conference. We're sitting in the lobby of the greatest arena. Tomorrow we weigh in. Saturday you get into the ring. Talk about that just for a second, aside from the great birthday celebration that we've been having. We're here. You just said it. You're in New York City for the first time.
I mean, this is such a humbling experience. It's been such an honor. It's been a whirlwind these last couple months, and to be among these great fighters, all these guys I've watched, before in the past. So, just being on this card, being on the undercard of Lomachenko it's amazing. So it's just a humbling experience. What an honor, and it's been an amazing journey these past couple months.
Bob, you wanted to chime in?
Yeah, Nico, I don't know if you know this, but almost a little bit more than 50 years ago, December 7th, 1971, your grandfather fought Oscar Bonavina in this building and knocked out Bonavina. And he had been prevented unfairly from fighting for 3.5 years. And finally, a federal district judge in New York had said that couldn't last, and he was given his license, and his first fight after he fought Quarry in Atlanta was here in this building against Bonavina. The place was packed, and he knocked out Oscar in the 15th round. So you got a lot to live up to.
Right.
No pressure, brother. No pressure.
No, it's not just that fight. Just his whole legacy. The biggest legacy he has is outside the ring. What he did for his people, what he stood for. That's the pressure that I get.
That's true.
I think we need somebody at the TED Talk world to reach out to Bob. The fact that you can drop these stats, these fight stats, like at the drop of back in 15th round knocked him out. How do you pull that out? How do you remember this stuff?
I don't want to say with these young people.
Nico, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Hey.
With us, Nico Ali Walsh, and he is Muhammad Ali's grandson. And I have a book here for him, Muhammad Ali, The Untold Story by Rodney Hilton Brown. It has your grandfather's work, poetry. He was
Oh my goodness.
all so much that he did for all the countries and his people. And what's harder? Is it harder to live up to his fighting legend,
Easy.
or
It's
to
the second
who?
one. The second one. It's I'll never be able to live up to who he was as a human. So definitely when I get compared to living up to his boxing career and his life outside the ring, there's no comparison.
Well, here's this book for you.
Thank you so
and
much.
also, I just want to say, this is your first fight here at Madison Square Garden. You are now 3-0.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about that fight. I mean, in the second round, you had him. Reyes Sanchez was saved by the bell, literally. If
Yeah.
there was like 3 more seconds, he would have been out. But he came back in the third, rough and tough.
Very.
So tell me what your analysis of it was, and what was your corner telling you?
They were telling me to step on the gas. The third round, I'm not happy with the third round. It's almost like I took a round off. He's a tough dude, and it could have been over in the second round if I would have if there was a couple more seconds, but I should have pushed it forward in the third round.
Yeah, actually, he was saved by the bell. Well, good luck there. Hey, one other thing, you're studying. You're also going to college, and what are you studying to be?
I'm studying business entrepreneurship. I just finished my finals actually yesterday, so it's been a hectic week battling boxing and schoolwork.
Well, thank you and good luck. I know you're going to be successful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that's all the time we have for this show. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the fights.